Yeah, because you would dig a new portion of it. They're in that portion.
I can still see them on your video, Joel.
Yeah, you can see all that on my video. And by the way, on my video, you'll see Peter Parr. I brought him here in 2008. He finished, this is his trench here. And this is the trench that I showed you in that first one that I showed you with the collapsed city wall. That's this trench. Okay, so I went down where he dug, where Peter Parr, he says this is the deepest hole ever dug in archaeology, and I'm not going to argue with him. I've never seen anything deeper. But look at that. Look at the amount of dirt that they removed from this.
Good, yeah.
This whole tell is an artificial hill made up of layers all the way down to ground layer level. Look over there is ground level. They dug all the way from the top of the tell all the way to the bottom. These high hills that you see, that's all dump from that came out of this hole. And so Peter Parr, I stood down at the bottom of that wall, and I said to him, what did you find at the base of this stone retaining wall? And he said, well, we found this pile of fallen red bricks. And he literally uses the words, the wall came tumbling down. And I said to him, well, what do you think about that in regards to what the Bible says? And he says, well, what do you mean? And so I opened my Bible and I read him about the collapsed city wall. This is what he said to me. He said, oh, I've never thought of that before.
Wow.
Now, the guy is brilliant. I'm not trying to make fun of him or anything like that. He was born an atheist. He's a generational atheist. He dug here under Kenyon, who did not use the Bible. She threw it out the window. He'd never been to church, never been to Sunday school, dug here from 1952 to 1958, and never heard the story that the walls of Jericho came tumbling down.
Wow.
Anyways, he dug down here, and you see this tower. This was very shocking for them that's at the very bottom of the tell. That's the oldest city. You know, when you see that this is the oldest city on earth, which, you know, there's other cities like Sodom and Gomorrah that are also the same age, but the oldest city at the bottom of the tell is already fortified. They were expecting to find, you know, men with half monkey brains throwing rocks at each other down there, and they found a fortified city. And then you see this, this is a tower right here, a fortification tower, and there's a hole in the top and it goes down and there's a hole in the bottom. Let me get my, right, here's the hole in the bottom, here's the hole in the top. So there's a staircase that's going through there. And my professor, the two most famous schools in Jerusalem are the British School of Archaeology and the American School of Oriental Studies, which is now called the Albright Institute, and the British School of Archaeology is now called the Kenyon Institute. Okay, John Garstang was the first director of the British School of Archaeology. Kenyon was the second, and Peter Parr, this guy I'm telling you about, was the third. And then my professor got his PhD from Peter Parr. So the archaeology is old, but the history of the scholarship isn't really all that old. Okay, anyways, Shimon told me, he said, yeah, when he excavated this, he found skeletons stretched out on this staircase. So when I had him here, he was standing up over here and I was standing down over here. I lifted up that grid and I said, Dr. Parr, when you excavated this staircase, what did you find? And he said, absolutely nothing. And so I was like, oh man. So then later I was at dinner with him and Shimon. And Shimon, I said, you told me that he found skeletons and everything. And Shimon says, oh, come on, Dr. Parr, you remember the skeletons that you found on the... And he goes, oh, right, yeah, I remember now. And then the Plaster Skulls are a famous thing that are found here in Jericho. They have some in the British Museum. They have one at the Israel Museum. They have two in Jordan. Anyways, they were found right here by Parr. So I asked him that question too. I said, Dr. Parr, one of the most amazing things found here at Jericho are the plastered skulls. What was it like to discover them? And he said, well, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it was time for my cold beer. And I had to stop and dig out these skulls. Anyways, It's kind of hard filmmaking sometimes. You don't usually get the answer that you have in your head that you wish they would say.
So what period does this date to?
So they date this to 10,000 years ago, 8,000 BC. But as Dr. Parr said, we have no idea how old that is because it's pre-pottery and it's pre-writing, it's pre-history. So they more or less pulled that out of the air, that 8,000 date. Now, if you look, if I come over here, here, this is the destruction level. See it? You see my green
yes,
thing?
yeah.
Like I'll put it on the concrete there, and then down, this is the destruction level. Look, if you go down the destruction level, look what you come to. Do you see these? The fallen
Yeah.
bricks?
Yeah.
You see, look at those. Everybody see what I'm pointing at?
No.
Okay, so look, I'll put it right here on the concrete, right close. Everybody see that?
Yeah, okay.
So now I'm gonna go down to the destruction. See the destruction here?
Yeah.
Now it looks like destruction there because it's caved in right there. Whereas here, it's just mud that's come up from here and covered up the destruction. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so if I follow that level of the destruction over, then we come to fallen mud bricks. Do you see?
Oh yeah.
Fallen mud bricks, fallen, fallen.
Oh yeah.
So again, we're in the same layers. We're just looking at them in different places.